Hello and welcome back to the Frqncy podcast. My name is Dare and I'm joined by
Monty. Hello.
Hello. So we are getting into a little bit of a darker realm here for our podcast today. I have been obsessed lately with infamous cults. Do you happen to know why that is?
I do not know why that is. I know that recently we had talked about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that Tarantino film. Does it have anything to do with that?
Actually, yes, it does. So the Manson Family is one of those infamous cults that shocked the world, and it's not really like the biggest cult known. Like, obviously, they're one of the most infamous because they murdered, I believe, Sharon Tate. But
who was Sharon Tate again? She was just an actress?
She was an actress, yes. So Sharon Tate and her friends were all murdered in their house in Hollywood. And this was back in 1969. She appeared in advertisements, small television roles, and appeared in films. And she also worked as a model. She was very favorably compared to Marilyn Monroe. So let's go ahead and talk about the Manson Family, Heaven's Gate, and then the Branch Davidians, which you've probably never heard about the last one, have you?
No, I haven't. Honestly, the only one that I can recall was the Manson Family.
All right, so let's start with them. So it's a murder cult led by Charles Manson in the 1960s, but he wasn't just a cult leader. He was incredibly manipulative. Now, he targeted young, vulnerable people, mostly women, and obviously it was the 70s, or late 60s, and it was kind of the beginning of the hippie era, right?
Okay.
He convinced them that he was almost this messianic figure. He mixed drugs, isolation, and psychological control. But then it gets even crazier. Manson believed in something he called Helter Skelter, which is, as you know, like a Beatles song.
Yes.
So he twisted this specific song into this prophecy about a race
war.
Oh,
so this was a Beatles song before... So he got the name from the Beatles?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, what was the original meaning of the Beatles song then?
Let's find out. Let's find out, because I'm genuinely curious too. The only thing I know about this Helter Skelter song is that it's kind of frowned upon. I don't really hear a lot of people talk about it. So it says here that a Helter Skelter is an amusement park ride with a slide built in a spiral around a high tower. It is also British slang meaning in disorderly haste or confusion. So that's what that song's.
So
I guess
an amusement
reference.
park ride.
Yeah. And like I said, Manson ended up twisting this into a prophecy about a race war. He thought
using an already existing Beatles song.
Yes, he thought that chaos would break out and he would rise to power afterwards.
So did he believe the Beatles to be like a prophecy?
That is a good question.
What is it? Prophets or what am I? You know what I'm trying to say?
I guess they would be considered prophets, no?
Okay, I'm like, it doesn't feel normal coming out of the tongue, like coming off the tongue.
As I was saying, so the Beatles song Helter Skelter came out in 1968, and he interpreted it as a prophetic coded message predicting an apocalyptic race war in the U.S., which he had aimed to ignite through the Tate LaBianca murders. He believed the lyrics "coming down fast" and references to piggies signaled a violent uprising where black people would overthrow white people. This is actually a very common theory, or what's the word? Conspiracy that has been reignited throughout decades. Even now, it's called the replacement theory. It's this belief that whites will be replaced by other races, and it seems to drive a lot of different racist kind of terrorists to the forefront of society, and that's why they end up, mass shooting churches and schools and all these other things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty insane. But after this whole prophetic message, he ordered his followers in 1969 to commit the series of murders, including the killing of actress Sharon Tate. And that's referenced in the movie that we saw, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Except in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, those two characters happen to be the ones that stop it all. It was a very real thing, and it was very brutal, and his followers carried it out while he stayed behind. So he didn't even do it himself. And that's kind of what makes it so disturbing, is his power was very psychological, and he was able to convince others to kill for him. So this really shows how dangerous belief and how dangerous belief and control can become when someone is charismatic and they're able to twist reality. So now let's go from violent to just surreal. What do you know about Heaven's Gate?
Is that the Kool-Aid one?
I think that might be the Jonestown.
Okay, then
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Heaven's Gate. Teach
So,
me.
I mean, kind of similar how they ended, mass suicide. But Heaven's Gate was a cult that believed in aliens, and they were led by a man named Marshall Applewhite. Already sounds pretty weird. He believed that Earth was about to be recycled and that the only way to survive was to leave your human body and ascend to a higher level. Basically, hitching a ride on a spacecraft that was reportedly hidden behind the moon.
Wow.
And here's the wild part.
How many people believed that?
Sorry, not hidden behind the moon. They believed that it was a spaceship trailing behind the comet Hale-Bopp. So, the wild part is that in 1997, 39 members died in a coordinated mass suicide, believing that they were going to board this spacecraft. Which is kind of weird because they all organized it to where they were wearing matching outfits, identical beds, everything was planned. I'm pretty sure they filmed goodbye messages to the world that you can watch on the internet now.
Each of them?
I don't know about each of them, but I know I've seen a few. So these cult members all believe that they were genuinely going to be going somewhere better, and that's what makes this one so powerful, is that they don't feel crazy from the inside. I mean, it was very it was kind of the same pattern as every cult, where you have someone that says that they represent a higher power, and you have people that believe in that higher power, and then you proceed to isolate them from their families.
Is it just a natural, human occurrence? Like, in a population, there will be, cults. That's just something that could happen?
I mean, cults are always going to form because of a collective belief or a collective religious belief, I suppose. And they tend to prey on members of society who feel that they have no place to go, and it's usually members of the younger generation or people that were outcasted or people that feel they've been looked down upon, which is kind of what you see happening when it comes to our political environment too, right? You have someone that claims to have all the answers, and you have someone that's making broken promises or promises that they know they're going to break simply to get you to follow them, and then justify the reasons why you can't follow through with those promises by making enemies of everyone else. It's kind of crazy how you can just redirect people's ideas if you have enough power and charisma to do so. Okay, so this last one is from Waco, Texas. This one involves the government. This cult was known as the Branch Davidians. Now, you probably don't know a lot about the Branch Davidians, but it was led by a man named David Koresh out of Texas. He was a preacher who played a central role in the Waco siege of 1993. As the head of the Branch Davidians, he claimed to be its final prophet. He had apocalyptic biblical teachings, including interpretations of the Book of Revelation and the Seven Seals, which attracted various followers. So, he had total control over this group, And things escalated when authorities believed that the group had illegal weapons. The government got involved big time. And in 1993, a raid by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives turned into a 51-day standoff.
I think I've seen this, and they were communicating with them inside.
Yes.
Asking
Eventually,
them to release like some of the followers.
yeah. Eventually, it ended in a fire that killed over 70 people, including children.
How many in total were actually a part of that cult?
Let me see if I can find the answer for you there. I'm like...
So they all lived in one building?
They lived in one compound.
Compound.
Yeah, it was called a compound.
So people would share rooms?
They would share rooms.
They'd bunk up?
Yeah, they were a community. So it says approximately 85 to over 100 Branch Davidians were in the Mount Carmel compound near Waco, Texas during the siege, with around 80 plus inside during the final fatal fire.
Wow. So a majority of them actually perished.
A total of 76 members, including 22 to 28 children, and leader David Koresh died on that final day.
That's horrible.
And there was only 9 survivors.
What was their belief again?
So, let me actually find you what their true beliefs were, because I'm actually curious of that myself. It's like very often they talk about what these cults are, but they don't really go into detail. It's very, very... Okay, so it was a Christian splinter group originating from the Seventh-day Adventists, focusing on the imminent second coming of Jesus Christ. Under David Koresh, they believed that he was the Lamb authorized to open the 7 seals of Revelation, creating a communal siege mentality lifestyle. Members believed that they were living in the end times and that Koresh alone could interpret the 7 seals in the book of Revelation. They believed in present truth or new light, meaning God provided updated prophetic guidance through a chosen leader in each generation, culminating in Koresh, and that Koresh, born Vernon Howell, claimed to be the final prophet and the Lamb of Revelation, though some scholars note that he was viewed as a divine messenger rather than a literal reincarnation of Jesus Christ.
Oh.
So, the thing about the way that was handled is that... like I said, the fire happened, killed over 70 people, including up to, I think a little over 20 children. And people still debate today what really happened, whether it was mishandled or who was at fault. Because the ATF, they felt, didn't do enough to mitigate the situation. And that's kind of what culminated in the fire happening and, chaos.
Yeah, but I don't understand what your statement. So it was a standoff, correct?
Yeah, it was a standoff.
So people inside the building were holding others hostage.
No, standoff in the sense that the ATF, or the government, believed that Koresh and his members were hoarding weapons, which I think they technically were. They were hoarding a lot of weapons because they were a doomsday cult.
Mm-hmm.
And when the standoff happened, there was a shootout. No one knows who really shot first, though. That's the thing. I think that was like a huge thing.
Okay, but regardless, I mean, if you're shooting with enforcement, I mean, if you continue to do so, you're probably not in the right, I assume.
So the thing is, there's a question of who fired the first shot, and that remains kind of disputed. There's conflicting accounts from federal agents and survivors. ATF agents testified that the Branch Davidians fired first, while surviving Branch Davidians maintained that federal agents initiated gunfire. So the agents claimed that they heard gunfire from inside the compound, and then some early retracted reports suggested an ATF agent might have fired first at a dog, and that's what started the gunfire.
Okay.
So survivors claim that they only returned fire after the ATF began the shooting, and then it says within 45 minutes of the initial gunfight, 4 ATF agents and 6 Branch Davidians were killed. So,
is there footage of survivors speaking out about their experience?
There might be. I mean, I know there's definitely a lot of documentaries that talk about what happened that day.
Is this the biggest in the country in terms of, I guess, like a cult death, I guess?
I think that's a good question. I'm not entirely sure. because
80 does seem like a lot.
that does seem like a lot, but I don't remember how many. Did I say how many members of Heaven's Gate died?
No, you didn't.
Oh, 39.
Oh.
So it might be. Because
It's more than double, that's for sure. Quick math, right?
I guess. Let me see. There is. Oh. So, I guess this cult that I literally did not talk about, and this is the one I was talking about earlier to you when you asked about the Kool-Aid. It was called the People's Temple, and it was led by Jim Jones. And it caused the highest number of deaths in a single cult-related event known as the Jonestown Massacre. On November 18th, 1978, 918 people died in Guyana, primarily through forced suicide by cyanide poisoning, marking it as the deadliest such incident in modern history. So 918 people all took their lives.
Do you believe that people that lead stuff like that, they genuinely, like, in themselves believe that what they preach to be true?
I mean, these are people that definitely have significant mental illnesses or mental issues, because you have to have this grandiose idea of who you are as a person. You have to be like a super narcissist at that point to believe that you are the chosen one. You are the one to lead these people. And that's kind of what all these cults have in common. It's control, charisma, and vulnerability. Every single one of these leaders found people looking for meaning and gave them something very, very dangerous instead. And it's really kind of scary to think that anyone could fall into something like that.
Do you think you could fall into something like that?
I don't know. Thing is, I think if you find a person that's at the bottom of the barrel, that's just suffered so much in their life, maybe doesn't have any family members or support system, and you say, "Hey, I'll be your support system," you can brainwash someone into doing anything. That's what's so scary about it. But I guess the takeaway from this entire conversation is really to question everything, especially when someone claims to have all the answers, because you never really know. One day you might find yourself...
Yeah, but do you find that all those people, like, 900, you said 938, none of them questioned it? None of them, like, thought twice before, like, taking the cyanide? Were all of them in the know before doing that? Or were some of, like people joke about, like, the Kool-Aid, like, so I assume that, like, people drank from a punch of some sort. So did everyone, like, willingly participate in that? Or were some people, like, just led to it?
So you're asking if the people at the Jonestown Massacre knew that their drink was spiked?
I'm sure a lot of them did, but I mean, like, the majority. Because 900 is an insane number. Imagine walking into a town and just seeing, like, 900 plus dead bodies. You'd probably be running into one every
for the Jonestown incident,
block or so.
For the Jonestown incident, not everyone knew that their drink was spiked.
Wow.
It says that leaders and armed guards were aware of the planned mass murder-suicide, and many members were likely coerced or deceived into drinking the mixture. Also, I just want to clarify something. So, you know where that term is, oh, that person drinks the Kool-Aid?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where the term came from.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, and Bo loves to say this all the time, what they drank wasn't actually Kool-Aid. It was a knockoff version called Flavor Aid.
I'm sure Kool-Aid loved that.
And it was... isn't that crazy? So, it was mixed with cyanide and sedatives.
See, they couldn't even, like, get Kool-Aid for the party.
So drugs like Valium were used. So, yeah, while some of the loyal followers may not have known, the majority of the 900-plus victims were likely under immense pressure or misled about the nature of
immense
the drink.
pressure, so, like, yeah, they have a gun to their head to drink it?
It could have been. It very much could have been that
So
way.
he's not even, like, a cult leader. He's just a fucking, like, terrorist. He's just terrorizing people.
I mean, that's kind of like a mass what's the word? Like peer pressure. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, but you can't peer pressure someone into killing themselves. They were tricked.
Well, I don't know. But, yeah, that's kind of what I want.
You're like, I just don't like the flavor. Like, drink it.
They're like, I promise, it tastes good. No. These are kind of the things I wanted to talk about. But going back to Heaven's Gate, the reason that Heaven's Gate came up as well this week is because I was watching a documentary on Heaven's Gate. So Marshall Applewhite actually was in a seminarian. So what made him so powerful was the fact that not only was he charismatic, he was friendly, he was easygoing, but it was also the fact that he had joined a seminary, he had planned to become a preacher or a pastor of some sort. And so he combined his charisma and his personal beliefs with the beliefs of the church or whatever religious group that he was a part of. And that's why it appealed to members of,
and then he's just like, one day he's like, I'm bored.
Well, the thing is, like, his beliefs changed over time. So originally it was believed that what was it, like, at first it was very religious oriented, and then he got into science fiction, and then the aliens came along.
The aliens.
Yeah. But the crazy thing is not all the members are wiped out.
What do you mean?
So, Heaven's Gate, there's a website that still is active today.
And what can I do on that website?
There's nothing you can do on the website. The website is just information. But someone's kept the domain going. And the thing is, it looks exactly how it did back in the 90s. It's an old-looking website, but there's an email attached to it. And if you send that email a message today, you will get a response. And someone's done that before, and they've asked, like, okay, I thought you guys were all, pretty much extinct. And they said, no, some of us were still left behind. So there are still members of this cult that exist out there and still believe.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so you can look up that website. You can find it online, and it's still active, still looks the same as it did the day most of those members left.
You should send them an email.
I'm not going to do that. But thank you for joining us for this episode of Odd Frequency. We appreciated having you here, and we hope that you'll see us next time here on Odd Frequency. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.